going to do a dish with Northern Irish lamb, and it's Northern Ireland farm quality assured lamb, which is really important. So it'll be in the packaging, but also if you go to your local butcher, just ask them and say, where does the lamb come from? And if it's a good butcher, they'll be able to tell you the field and hopefully the farmer anyway, maybe not the field, but my butcher would be able to, so that's always good. So I've got loin of lamb here, and just took it off the bone. And then what I'm going to do is just, I've kept the fat on, so it's nice, just sort of nice thin layer of fat. So a bit of sea salt, and into the pan, and the pan's on a sort of a low heat, and then just straight in. You don't need any oil or anything like that there. And then just going to let that cook gently. Oh, that's great, thanks. And then just another wee bit of salt on the top. And then we're going to just let that cook down so that the fat's nice and crispy. There's nothing worse than when you get a bit of lamb with the fat on it, and it's got the, you know, that sort of jellied fat. So we'll give that a wee bit of time. So then what we're going to do is some lentils, which I've cooked already. And these lentils come from, I go to Italy every year, well I used to, and this is the lentils come from the farm next door to where I stay. So these are farm lentils, but from Italy. So we've got some beetroot from McGilligan, and what I did was put the beetroot into a bit of tin foil with a wee bit of oil. Use the rapeseed oil, the Broiler Gold rapeseed oil, which is just from up the road. Bit of salt, bit of thyme, some water, and put it into a package of tin foil and put it into the oven and cook it for about an hour, and then just peel it and chop it up. You can boil beetroot, but I always think when you boil beetroot you end up with your paint peeling off the walls and that smell of boiled beetroot, whereas it's just nicer when you put it into, you get the smell of fresh thyme roasting. So the other thing to do when you're cooking any kind of meat is just I'm going to crank this up a wee bit now because the fat's starting to render. Don't start poking it around, because what we want to do is caramelise the fat in this. Right. So with the lentils, so we've got our nice Northern Irish beetroot, but the one thing I want to do is I want to use this. This is soup celery. So we always use soup celery for a broth. And a couple of years ago, I was doing a dinner in England, and I brought a big box of soup celery over, and somebody said, "Oh, you should use that more often, not use it just for soup." So what I did was just blanched it in a bit of boiling water, just to sort of take the edge off. Then we're going to take a bit of butter into the pan, and already that lamb is starting to smell absolutely beautiful, and you sort of see the fat cooking down a wee bit there. Bit of onion, and the onion is just going to form the base of the lentils. So the lentils are already cooked with a bit of celery and onion, but I just want to cook this soup celery out. So nice, finely chopped. And that just goes in there. Right. So got that rendered down. What I want to do is just seal that off the other side now. And then at this stage you just put a few wee sprigs of thyme in. Sprigs of thyme, and then that's just going to go into the oven. We'll give that about 8 minutes in the hot oven. So we're going to serve this pink. Right, so we've got, so I want to cook these onions down. Again, a wee bit of seasoning in with the onions. And it's got some nice parsley here, and we'll just finish it off with that. So again, that's what I would call proper parsley, so because it tastes like parsley. To finish off the lamb, we're going to do a glaze, and one of the farms in Oakwood Farm Week is Hillstown Farm. So this is their squealing pig IPA. So what I did was boiled a bit of that with some honey. The honey's from up the road, and so Hillstown farm is in Ahachel, and the honey is from Resharkin, so not too far away. So this is going to be a glaze, and what I did was just boil those together, honey and ale. I'll put another wee drop in here just, and that'll be a glaze for it. So Hillstown farm started producing beer to fatten their cows. So they had these, their cows were, it was supposed to replicate Wagyu beef, Japanese beef, which is a lovely marbling of fat. And they made this stout. And then I think they soaked the grass, the hay, in the beer. And of course the cows loved it. And I was there, this is many years ago, and tried the stout, and I said, that stout's nearly too good for those cows, you know, but it did the job. But it's absolutely beautiful, and they now sell all these different ones. They've got the squealing pig, they've got the drunken donkey, they've got the horny bull, they've everything. The whole farmyard's represented. So this is an IPA, so Indian pale ale, and then the honey, and that's just going to finish. So I give the lamb a really nice glaze. So that onion's cooked now. So what I do is take the soup celery and just give this a chop up. So soup celery isn't like ordinary celery. This is a plant that's indigenous to Northern Ireland, so you're not getting it anywhere else. And it used to grow in hedgerows, especially in coastal areas. And now it's cultivated, but it's got a really nice sort of bitter taste. You really feel that you're eating something. Okay. And then just give that a mix around. And actually, when you're putting that in there now, it does smell a wee bit like when you make a broth. They've got that nice roast beef or roast lamb, and then the smell of the celery mingling in with it. Right. Just going to put another wee bit of butter in with that. And then we're going to take some of our lentils. Okay, so these are cooked already. I cooked them with some celery, a wee bit of stock. And then what you want to do is cook them until they're kind of still a wee bit nutty. Still they've got a wee bit of a crunch in them. And then when you take those away and put them onto a tray, and by the time they cool down, they're ready. You don't want mushy. Right. And then we've got, just into this here, we sprig just a wee tiny bit of, this is the Armagh Cider Company, which is another cider, another farm that's been represented. So this is their vinegar. So in here, and this is the proper cider vinegar. So it's got a mother at the bottom. So that's where the vinegar comes from. So you sort of look at it, it looks like a ghost. Sort of like, see that there? Like, woo. So that's her. That's what you want. You want a vinegar like that because that's a really old proper vinegar. So people say, well, you have to eat, you have to drink, have a wee toot of that in the morning, and that'll make you feel good. But they mean that vinegar. It has to have the mother in it, not just cider vinegar they buy in the supermarket. This is the proper stuff. And I know that Troutons that do this sell the big gallons of it, because a lot of people that have horses buy this, you know, and rub it into the joints of the horses. It's supposed to really help them. So you can do that yourself if you want it, you know, but I think the thing about the cider vinegar is the other thing that people always say is have a wee toot of that in the morning. And people have it in hot water. Don't have it in hot water, that kills it. So put it into, just have a shot of it in the morning. And it'll, first of all, it'll liven you up a bit. Your face will be like that. But then it wakens you up. And it keeps you young. Okay, so there you are. So I'm 94, so there we are. We're all good. Right, so that's our lentils and our soup celery. So that's our garnish, nearly done. And I just diced the beetroot, and I'm going to add that to it as well. So they all go in. And then we're going to finish that up. I'm going to turn that off now. Wait for our lamb to cook. And then nearly as important as cooking the lamb is resting the lamb. So anytime you cook any meat, chicken, fish, anything, let it rest for nearly sometimes as long as you've cooked it. But I'm going to cook it for about 8 minutes, let it rest for 5 minutes, and then we're going to glaze it with this the squealing pig ale and the honey. And this is going to get finished off with proper parsley. Okay. Okay, so lamb smells amazing, and so it's been in the oven for about 8 minutes, and what I'm going to do is just let this rest, and then all the juices will come out. We'll get rid of the thyme sprigs, and then we're going to give it a wee glaze. So I'm going to let it just sit for 5 minutes, not disturb it, just leave it. Nobody look. Right. The lamb's resting, and as I said, this is a Northern Ireland farm quality assured lamb. Whenever you buy lamb with that stamp, or you check with your butcher, you know that it's going to be local, that you're supporting a local farmer especially, and you know exactly the provenance of that lamb. So the butcher should be able to tell you what farmer produced it or what field it came from, and also on the packaging, if it says Northern Ireland farm quality assured, that you know that you're supporting the local farmers. And it's literally, for me, lamb is one of the best meats, because lamb is wild. You can't farm a sheep. The sheep just fly off over the place, come back down. It's so natural, and that's what I love about it. I think it's we talk about sustainable and we talk about traceability. Lamb is the one animal that you can't control. It's just away up on the hills, and it comes down. It takes on everything. The French talk about terroir, and terroir is everything that the land produces. And with the lamb, they'll eat the wild thyme, they'll eat the heather, and that will come out in the meat, and it's a lovely sweet meat. This time of year, it's the beautiful spring lamb. I love it, and then later on there I still love it. So it's always different, and that's what I love about it. It's like a woman, you know. It's just never the same. That's it, and that's great. That's what makes lamb special, and that's what makes us special. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right, I'm ready now here, I think. Yep. Right, so the lamb has rested, and we've got these wee bits of thyme that I've just taken out, but as you can see, whenever you let it rest, you get these beautiful juices. So what I'm going to do is take the juices and just put them into the lentils, so that'll just flavour that up nicely. And then we're going to make the sauce out of this. We're going to glaze the lamb, and we're going to finish with another wee bit of butter, and that's going to let's ignore that one there. Okay. So I've cooked this nice and pink, so what we'll do is just take that down again, just put that, and then our glaze, which is our Hillstown Ale IPA. So we've got our Indian Pale Ale, the squealing pig. They don't think they do a lamb, they do a llama, so that was the nearest thing. So we'll just go with the pig, and just put a wee bit of that glaze all over the lamb. Now what we want to do is just cook this out a wee bit, and we'll get a nice glaze on the lamb, and then we'll just cut this up. While we're waiting for that to happen, got the parsley, so I'm going to finish off the lentils with the parsley. And this is locally grown parsley, so it really tastes like parsley. You know, you buy them in the supermarket, and they don't really taste of much. And then a lot of people, I know a lot of restaurants will pick the stalks up, but all the goodness and all the citrusy bits on the stalk. So if you just go down nice and fine and chop the stalks first of all, and then when you get to the leaves, just do nice sort of, not really finely chopped, because you really want to get a nice big bit of that parsley. You know, when you get something lovely like this, that's what I want to get a real. Right, and that just... So you're nearly using the parsley, sort of like a veg, along with the soup celery. Okay, and then this lamb now, just you get this lovely glaze on it. And then it's picking up all those lovely bits that were in the pan, the cooking juices. Look at that there, and just turn that off. I know I have been quite generous with the butter with this, but we're just going to put another wee bit in at the end, and that really will just give you a nice sort of glossy sauce at the end, just to... You could do this with lamb leg steaks, even shoulder chops, loin chops. Right, so that's that. We'll get a nice bowl here. And we'll put our lentils out. Get our green, yellow chopping board. Right. So just some of the lentils here now. So this is the lentils, not local lentils, but Italian local lentils. A wee bit of beetroot, again that's from McGilligan, and we've roasted it with the rapeseed oil from Limavady, the brighter gold. A wee bit of the Armagh cider vinegar in there, and we're just going to take this nice bit of lamb and we're just going to slice this up so it's nice and pink. Just want to let that, when you slice it, just let it rest on the board for a couple of minutes, not a lot. I've got some herbs here that were I want to say garden, but not in my garden, but this is fresh oregano. It's not a garden, it's actually a pot at the back of the house, so but we'll call it the garden, you know. That's so if you let it rest a wee minute, and then those juices come down, and then when you put it on the plate, they're not on the plate. So if you slice your steak straight away and put it onto your plate, that's why you get the blood on it. But if you let it rest, it's just... And then what I'm going to do is actually take that over there, take another wee bit of the oil, just a wee tiny bit of the oil, just over the top. Just a small amount of salt over that. Put that onto our top of our lentils. That wee bit there, so you can see your nice bit of the crispy bit there, and then just these lovely juices. So again, this has got honey in it, which is sweet. It's got ale in it, which is not sweet, and we'll just put that all over. Just all over your lentils, all over the lamb. That nice wee bit there at the end. I have to say this smells really good, and it's just, a lot of people say, oh, I don't like lamb because of the smell, and honestly this smells delicious. So a few wee, just a wee oregano leaves there, just because it's a sort of an Italian Northern Irish hybrid, this, you know, just with our Italian lentils. Okay, and that's our dish there. So that's our finished dish, which is we've got our Northern Ireland farm quality assured lamb loin. We've got our lentils, beetroot, soup celery, and then we've got the lovely IPA from Hillstown farm, and some honey from a sharkin, and that's our dish. And thank you to Linden Foods for supplying the delicious lamb.